You know, it would be a better way to get people's information is if we launched the Shat on TV mobile minigame, where people had to answer the same questions, and then they could create their own Roger, Gene, Carrie,
like little digital clothes and accessories,
little microtransactions.
Hi, folks. This is Louis Hertham, the original Peter Abernathy. Hell is empty and all the devils are here on the Shat on TV Westworld podcast with Roger, Gene, and Big B.
Welcome back to Shat on TV Westworld Edition, the unofficial podcast companion piece for the hit television series Westworld on HBO. I'm one of your hosts, Roger Roper, and alongside me are my two co-hosts, Big D, Dick Ebert.
Good evening.
And Gene Sweetwater Lyons.
Westworld?
And this is our second season 2 preview, our second of our season 2 previews, episodes where we look forward to the upcoming season of Westworld and share listener email and projections. I can taste the dust in the air. April 22nd, Westworld season 2.
Yeah, Raj, you know this is overdue. When people are talking about lesser shows and like getting excited about it, I'm like, have you seen, insert show name here? And I'm like, is this what we've been reduced to with the lack of a Game of Thrones and the leftovers being gone and Westworld being on for so long? And we're just like, what the hell? The world is waiting for another Taboo to come along because that's how desperate we are. And so I am so jacked about Westworld that I keep forgetting what month it is. I keep thinking it's April. It's only March. And they are keeping it incredibly quiet. It's kind of surprising.
Yeah, I need to take the time. I'm going to do a full season 1 rewatch. It's been so long now, I've almost forgotten the show. And now that it's coming back, and you realize, just like you said, the vacuum of good TV.
Yeah,
I can only imagine the numbers that this show is going to do when it premieres.
Here's my problem: is I think the anticipation for it is fantastic. Last year, or 2 years ago, is it 2 years ago now? Yeah, 2 years
16.
ago. Yeah. 18 months ago, when we embarked on this Shat on TV podcast venture, we had no idea whether or not Westworld would be good or bad. We had no idea it was going to blow up like it did. This season, though, there's that risk of it coming and people being disappointed.
I think we demonstrated that we don't have a 100% track record on picking blockbuster shows. But, Game of Thrones did really well for us. And I think Westworld, again, I think just a reminder to the listeners, if you're joining us either through Shat the Movies or maybe Game of Thrones and you hadn't listened to us the first season of Westworld, when we picked this was, you guys had done a review of Westworld the movie. And we said, hey, why don't we do a TV one, just for fun? We had no idea that it was going to be 3 times a week. And taking over our lives. But now people are prepared for this. There are expectations that I don't think there were in the past. And I do think that they're going to live up to them, though. I think that the show's gotten smarter. I think that the angles that they're taking on it is that same sort of, it's very clever and very subversive. And I'm really excited for this season.
So for those new listeners or listeners who haven't listened in a while, we don't go through a scene-by-scene recap. We talk about overarching themes, plot points that happen in every episode. We also do an Instacast that we release right after we watch the first run, and then every Thursday we release a fan email, and we actually just launched a voicemail as well that people can call in with their theories and interact with us. So 3 episodes every week. For these preview episodes, though, we have some news, some notes that we're going to be sharing. Gene, why don't you tell us what we got in store for tonight?
Well, Raj, we got a lot since the last time we put out a preview, which was back in February. But the big things we're going to talk about is really the buzz that Westworld has generated. They went all in, showing that HBO will be using this as the flagship for at least 2018 for their brand. And they went all in this investment in what they called the Westworld Experience, which is near Austin for South by Southwest. They basically built a Sweetwater out there in Texas. And we're going to talk a little bit about what that was like, some of the reviews. It created a lot of buzz among journalists. Also, from that experience, what kind of clues we have about season 2. A lot of people are trying to get as much dirt as they can on season 2, what to expect. So that Westworld Experience actually gave us some expectations of what we could be looking forward to. And we're also going to be talking about a very interesting comment that Jonathan Nolan made about fucking with Reddit and what that could possibly mean for season 2.
Sounds great. So let's kick off with that Westworld Experience near South by Southwest. One of our friends of the podcast, Aaron Peterson, who does a Beyond the Westworld podcast with his friend Troy Heinrichs, he was actually at South by Southwest. We're friends on Facebook. And so I was seeing all his photos and it looked pretty cool. But then I was reading some of the reports of what it is. I've been to Tombstone. And they have a very similar approach where they just have actors who are dressed up in cowboy gear walking around. There's old-timey saloons, and it's kind of like a tourist trap. Like, do you think that it was as good as people are saying?
Well, one of the great things about journalists is that they are inherently a cynical bunch. I mean, this is my pedigree. This is my training. I know these people, these writers, and the way that they behave. And so there was a great piece in Esquire that was basically talking about, it was Matt Miller was talking about his experience there. And he said essentially that he was worried that he was going to go into some big marketing gimmick with a bunch of adult cosplayers in the middle of the desert and be disappointed. And he described it as a mindfuck. He said that this was such an immersive experience that it really blew him away. And it led him to, really question a lot of his notions of the same themes that are examined in Westworld. So I'll take him at his word. And this wasn't just him. Vanity Fair, I think, also wrote a piece on it. So several publications were kind of saying the same thing, that this was the real deal. And they kept it very brief. So it's not like an amusement park here. It was supposed to be you really had to be there sort of experience. And I think it was very tasteful and smart on HBO's part.
Yeah, I tried to get into the immersive experience that they had at Comic-Con last year, and it sold out like Friday. I'm not going to wait in line for 3 hours or 4 hours or an entire evening to get into something, as cool as it might be. So you talk about the Vanity Fair and the Esquire article. I was reading on Forbes. They had a very positive experience as well, but then they also compared it to what other theme parks are doing now. They're all doing immersive experiences. Disney is building a Star Wars hotel with no fucking windows. So the entire time that you're at this hotel, there's going to be, I guess, video monitors that are going to look like windows of you out in outer space in the Star Wars world. But then they're also going to have missions that are, configured to each guest experience. And you're going to be like a hero of the rebellion. And, obviously we've seen this over at Harry Potter at Universal Studios, where they're doing immersive experiences where you go around the Harry Potter world and you interact with a wand that you buy for $80 and it does stuff. You see theme parks doing this, but is this just a fad? The show was inspired by theme parks that Disney built. Now with theme parks being inspired by shows like Westworld to do these immersive experiences.
You got to remember, HBO they're an expert at this. They've been doing it for long before Westworld. I remember the first season of The Leftovers. They had a tie-in where there was a phone number that appeared in one of the episodes. If you called it, a certain random amount of people started getting things in the mail. Whether it was an issue of National Geographic, or whether there were little components of the TV show. So they tried to make it an immersive experience and build the fan base. I mean, you just look at what they did with Discover Westworld. Everything they've done enhances the experience. Nothing has jumped the shark yet that I've seen. And remember, it's been 18 months, and I appreciate it. It sucks that it's been so long, but looks like, from everything that we've seen, they've taken the time, thought it out, and whatever we expect, I think they're going to go the other way. So I'm excited about it.
You have to imagine, like you said, these Disney and Universal executives are reaching out to the HBO executives and the showrunners to garner ideas of like how not only they build these storylines, but then also how they execute it. You said from an immersive experience. Can Westworld truly be translated in a manner with the technology that we have now, where we don't have robots that look like humans, but they're actually humans? Like, do you think theme parks are going to try and ride this immersive experience, and do you think it actually would work?
Well, I was impressed with the fact that, like I said, they kept it so short-lived, because this was a board-by-board recreation. I mean, they had the Mariposa Saloon. They really took the time to build this out for a very limited run, but they did have those limitations. Like you mentioned, Raj, I think HBO's instructions to the guests was don't touch anyone and don't break anything, which kind of defeats the purpose of Westworld, really. I mean, that's what you're there to fucking do. But by talking to actors, you could find yourself on certain missions, which is just like Westworld, or you could just wander around and not do any missions, which was also like Westworld. But what became interesting is you didn't know who was an actor and who was a guest. And what made that exciting for people is that you as a guest could act however you wanted. And so it really complicated things for everyone, and kind of gave you that anonymity, even though you were there physically, right? It's like transferring the anonymity of the digital world into the real world was kind of cool.
It's like if the Westworld subreddit became a person.
Exactly.
Right. And if anyone has done either the South by Southwest experience or was fortunate enough to get into Comic-Con, write in or leave us a voicemail. Our voicemail number is 914-719-SHAT, 914-719-SHAT.
Again, I mentioned that several publications had talked about the Westworld Experience, really covered it in depth, and Quartzy.com took a different approach to it, where they were like, let's look at what clues are left around and see what we could kind of surmise about season 2. They had some pretty interesting ones that I want to go over with you guys. There was a saloon that host had said was unused. It was an unused saloon off on the side of this property, and the writer from Quartzy went in and checked it out, and they found this a samurai host who didn't speak, seemed completely unfamiliar with the place, and was just kind of examining stuff. And they put that together with an online clip that was posted on social media where that same warrior discovers a sword, which is the first item he seems to recognize. And so I think what they're trying to do there is bridge the world between the digital. But there's been all that speculation, and we mentioned it on the February podcast as well, that it seems like the samurai world or the shogun world is going to be a real thing, and I can't see a reason why they would include it in this experience otherwise.
Yeah, are we excited for Samurai World or Shogun World? I just feel like it's going to derail the entire show if they go too hard to the hoop on it.
I mean, you guys know my reaction during that entire breakout scene was just one giant groan, in the sense that I really wanted this show to get more of a micro scale of going, what's really going on the insides of these characters, and really get deeper into the stories. And I think that it's going in the opposite direction, expanding. And what I hope doesn't happen is, again, we had the magic of Jurassic Park that somehow morphed into the horror that is Jurassic World. I hope that's not what happens with Westworld.
Hopefully, maybe like I've heard rumors that the samurai might be part of like Maeve's army that she's building, or they're just going to include robots and not actually go to a samurai world, which I think I'm okay with. I'm okay if they introduce characters from these different immersive theme parks. I'm not okay if they change the location. Does that make sense?
I think it's going to be funny. I told you, I almost everything that I see, I'm trying to go the other way, because they know as fans we're trying to predict, and they want to actually go completely against and surprise. So I would not be at all caught off guard if Samurai World is only a tiny component of the season, and is more there as just a small element to show the bigger world, and they're not going to break out and cover it as intensely as they did Westworld last year.
Guys, maybe the outside world is actually mostly run by samurai. And that's what they call Samurai World, but it's just the normal world, what we call Earth.
Yeah. No, I mean, that makes total sense. What else? What other clues do we have?
So at the risk of sounding like they're launching an entire series of action figures, they've also got what they call the drone host. So basically, in this Quartzy article, they talked about how, again, talking about this immersive experience at the Westworld Experience, this preacher said that there's this building that people are fascinated with, and the number is 0422, which is, of course, April 22nd, the launch date. But that code worked to open a hidden door, and behind it, they found a Delos employee working on a new host that was large, white, with no facial features. This is, of course, the host that we see in the initial trailer that came out for season 2 that was behind Bernard. So a lot of people are thinking now that these drones could be some sort of just a military applications. Do you guys have any predictions on those, or do you think anything they could be using them for?
Do you think if we reach out to Ptolemy Slocum, we'd ask him if he was the actual Delos employee that was working on it? Like, how much of a mindfuck would it be if you did the South by Southwest experience and found that hidden door, and in that hidden door was Ptolemy Slocum, you're working on this host,
or just banging some other host? Well, what's interesting though is some of the speculation about these drone hosts I thought was really interesting. Was, you know how Google or Facebook, when you or I use it, we think of Google as like, oh, it's an email thing or a search engine, right? Or like whatever other functions, Google Docs or whatever. But there's a whole different customer base of Google, which is the people who are pushing out advertisement, gathering data, that sort of thing, people who are using Google AdWords. And so I think that some people were speculating that that's how this drone thing works too, is essentially that Westworld to the consumer looks like one thing. It's you're buying an entertainment experience, but there are other clients that Westworld might have that are working from the other end of it, and that's maybe where the drones come in. If there's some other project going on, I really hope it's not another like military thing, because again, we talked from the get-go, we've said that would be so disappointing.
So Future World, which was the television series version of Westworld that failed after six episodes, the thought was that individuals who guests that were, pillars of their community and very powerful individuals and rich individuals would go to Westworld, and the Westworld employees in the Delos Corporation was capturing them, killing them, and then replacing them with artificial robots to infiltrate and, I guess launder money. I don't know. Hopefully it's not a military application, but it's an unfinished, what's the word I'm looking for? Mold. It's an unfinished mold of what soon will be a replacement for a Westworld host.
But these things look like Big D sized. Like they're much bigger than normal people.
Well, I mean, in case Big D goes to Westworld, they've got a drone his size.
Listen, I'm going against you. First of all, Future World was a movie.
That's right. Oh, I'm sorry. Future World was the sequel to Westworld, but then they also made a TV show.
Okay. So I'm going to go the other way. You guys are afraid it is a military application. I'm going to say almost certainly it is. The reason you have the hosts look like humans is that they can play the role of humans in the park. The only reason you would construct a larger version of a human form that does not look human is because you don't care if people can see it's not human. Its size and durability looks like an evolution of the host. And in a war between the remaining surviving humans and potentially hosts that haven't joined the rebellion, you would want a large, potentially dangerous version that's more durable of the host.
So you want the Terminator?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
A D-bot.
I hope they call it like the T, like 50,
shut up.
And it's a shared universe.
Oh, Jesus.
But seriously, it does open it up to an interesting twist, which would be that the hosts, having been abused themselves, right, by humans, would then have another beast of burden that they were using to take the brunt of a military attack. There would be a certain irony there.
Or it could just be a drone.
Or it just delivers packages.
Yeah, it could be the UPS.
It could be like super friendly.
Right.
It's like, what was it, Hero 6?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It could be like Baymax.
Yeah.
All right. What else were clues dropped at South by Southwest?
There does seem to be, we talked about in the February episode that there was a sort
Amazon Prime Bot. Amazon Prime Bot.
We talked about. Well, how else do you think things get delivered around there? They got lots of stuff to move around.
That's right. They got to deliver. You don't think that they have an entire line of vertically integrated companies that are doing the deliveries as well?
Nah.
Right. They got to use intermediary suppliers.
I would love if they just put little cowboy hats on them to no, it's totally just a guy. Don't worry about it.
Maybe then season 3, the drone hosts rebel against the original hosts.
Yeah,
and it just keeps going down the chain.
Right. Wheels within wheels. But no, but in February we talked about how season 1 was about control and how season 2 is about chaos. And one of the other veins that seems to be running through season 2 is this concept of revenge. And that was reflected again at the Westworld Experience with Dolores' grave. People came upon it, the Dolores Abernathy grave, and it had been dug up. And there were 3 men, they said, that dug it up. And then that related to a clip that they aired at South by Southwest at a panel in which you see Teddy and Dolores, and they've got guys strung up by their necks, and Dolores starts talking about their day of reckoning. So again, it seems that Dolores is going to be on the warpath, looking to avenge wrongs. If you're interested in seeing reading more about that, IndieWire has an in-depth recollection of everything that happened in the clips that were aired at South by Southwest.
We know Dolores is going to be a big component of season 2, correct?
Yes.
If we read the clues here, so men are digging up the body of Dolores.
We know there's going to be time jumps because you have James Marsden still in the cast. So any assumption we're making about things that are happening
it could be in the past, right? Because they
I think it's far too early for tinfoil.
Also, Ben Barnes is back as well.
Mm-hmm.
Well, one of the things that they mentioned also that was found inside of Dolores' grave, though, was there was another maze buried in there. Not obviously like something a minotaur would be trapped in, but one of those tiny mazes,
like a little toy.
So and so they were trying to point people through various means to Dolores' grave, and there's a symbolism there. So I think that she is going to be a critical component of season 2, which I think we knew that she was going to be a major character, but I think in season 1, she was we felt that there was a little bit of a bait and switch there. We're like, oh, it's all about Dolores. And then suddenly it wasn't all about Dolores, that there was even, characters like Angela that might have been more advanced, or Maeve. And so I think that this is an indicator that we really need to pay attention to it. And if you go back to what Jeffrey Wright has said all along, he's been quoted several times as saying that everything is out there in plain view from the beginning of the show, that figuring it all out is right there in front of you. And that might just be some, cloak and dagger, smoke and mirrors, whatever. But it does seem to indicate again that, our first character that we really got involved with in this show was Dolores. Again, she's being highlighted in season 2. And I think that we need to go back. I will, when I go back and watch season 1 again, I'm going to be focusing on her to kind of piece this all together.
Are there going to be any new hosts that you think we're going to be introduced to this year?
I'm glad you asked, Raj. So, yeah, there'll be, again, I don't know if these characters are going to make their way all the way to season 2 or be even significant, but there were some new character names dropped during the Westworld Experience. A couple of them that could be new characters. There's someone named Cisco Vasquez. A really interesting one that caught my eye was there's a woman named Valerie who is attempting to recruit people to join a temperance movement. And so that could be seen as something simple as a historical nod, or it could be sort of a counter movement to a rebellion, right? That there should be, there's always in any rebellion, there's loyalists. That could be the case here.
Yeah, I love how they're infusing like the worst American history into into my immersive, I want to escape the world theme parks. I mean? I really, who was it? Molly? It wasn't Molly Hatchet. Who was the who led the temperance movement? That's not Molly. Who was it?
I just watched a drunk history on this too. Carrie Nation.
Was it Carrie Nation?
She was the one with like the hatchet that would go bashing stuff around.
That's where I got the name Molly Hatchet.
She was the saloon smasher.
That's right. Okay. Are you sure that's the name?
Yeah, she would go into bar rooms and just smash them up.
What else are they going to have? They're going to have a roaming around asking for, women the ability to vote?
Somebody preaching safe sex.
I can just imagine it's a really great way to like boost your alcohol sales in Westworld. Like you just bought a beer, then she just comes in and smashes it.
Here's my problem with these immersive experiences, and it's great that they're dropping little clues. I love when shows take you through kind of a maze through different websites, and that feeds it, right? But they're cashing in, guys. They just launched a new website called Delos Destinations, and on there I was looking for some clues, and they have an about the creator of Delos, and you can go and kind of read it, and that may be an integral character that we're going to be introduced to. So I like that. But then you can sign up to be part of the Delos initiation training crew. And you sign up to pre-register, and I'm like, okay, cool. Maybe I'll be part of like a newsletter or an insider information. It takes you out to a launch page where they're launching the Westworld app. And the Westworld app is like a place where you can design your own host. It's stupid. There's not going to be any kind of clues or anything like that. How do you feel about this?
I'm still not getting a website. Delos Destination, the website for me, shows no information. I don't think it's legit.
DelosIncorporated.com. Sorry.
Oh, okay. There we go. Okay.
DelosIncorporated.com. And it takes you to WestworldMobile.com. But you also on Delos Incorporated and Delos Destinations, you can see other parks that have places, they're placeholders. So they're going to introduce, I assume, as the season goes on, they're going to introduce these other worlds. But right now, they're just placeholders.
So you're sure this is legit?
DelosDestinations.com.
Oh, no, Delos Incorporated is what you're saying.
Yeah, well, they have, no. There's a website called Delos Destinations that links out to Delos Incorporated. And also Westworld Mobile, the game. Can't wait for that. I hope there's microtransactions.
I don't know if it's real.
No, I mean, I agree that it could be overkill, and I do commend the listeners who dive really, really deep into this stuff and really feel that it enhances their experience. But for me, I think one of the things that we run into, and I know it's happened for me with Game of Thrones and with Westworld, is we can really spoil the show for ourselves. And you also see it taking an impact on the creators themselves, where I was kind of discouraged by the fact that Jonathan Nolan and other people involved with the production of Westworld said that they are trying to counter people guessing what's going to happen or reacting to things that they see on Reddit. And that kind of bums me out a little bit.
The fact that there's actually a strategy to like the Russians did and use Reddit as a disinformation portal.
Don't go there.
Westworld creators are taking a page out of Vladimir Putin's playbook and are going to infiltrate the subreddits.
No politics. Come on.
That's not politics. There's been convictions.
This is not a political rant. They are purposefully going to have people paid by HBO to go onto Reddit and seep out disinformation about Westworld. I think this is a terrible idea. It's a terrible idea about HBO.
Yeah, but it's smart.
Why?
It's smart. They're going to do it also with Game of Thrones.
You know what? Okay, I'm going to sell out this podcast. HBO, listen to me. If you want to have people call us, write in to hosts@shatontv.com with your disinformation, I will read it for $20. $20 each disinformation. I'll read it on the podcast. That's what our listeners deserve. Is some sort of corporate fed bullshit.
Now I'm just paranoid. I'm paranoid that Jezebel and Gillian and Tiago are all just plants, deep cover, deep op agents.
They're all drone bots. They're all Amazon Prime bots, just delivering us shitty information about our favorite show.
But seriously, Jonathan Nolan did say, this is a direct quote, he said, True Detective had a lot of fan theories that proved to be theories. There are a lot of theories about Westworld's first season that proved to be plot twists. I think for every fan theory, we actually had an episode that dealt with it. We're figuring out how to sort of interact with that in the second season, a somewhat controversial plan that we're working on. We'll have an announcement about it in a couple of weeks. And then he said, kind of as a thank you, it's incredibly gratifying to see people put in that much work, not just into deciphering the season, but in fan art and music. The creativity you see coming back at you when you're making one of these things is extraordinary. So it doesn't seem like it's coming from a malicious place,
No.
But I don't know if it's the best idea.
Listen, it's a defensive measure. They're not doing it just to fuck with people. They're doing it to protect from leaks. Mm-hmm. The last season of Game of Thrones, it was hard to stay away from spoilers because it was out there. So you would have people who would read it. They'd write it in an email that seemed like it was their original thought. We don't know. So here, if somebody starts leaking real storylines and plot twists, the only way to defend that is to leak false stories and plot twists. So you don't know what's real, what's fake. That's the only way you keep the actual story integrity intact.
Okay, but there's always going to be someone that's going to get it right.
That's fine.
But the point that I'm making is subreddit. Like Reddit was supposed to be, just like every other social media website, a place where individuals can come on and share thoughts freely. And Reddit does a really... They make an effort. They make an effort to keep away advertisements, to keep away corporate interests, to infiltrate the subreddits, right? That's why there's very specific rules. I can't go on the Westworld subreddit and put links to Shat on TV, right? They'll fucking boot me. I got warned like the first time I put a link about our podcast, and I was like, well, fuck it. I'm never coming back to this subreddit again. Go fuck yourselves. But like now that they're knowingly are going to be infiltrating this to spread I just feel like it's the wrong turn. Like, I feel like that may turn off certain fans, who are like, well, the reason we came to this subreddit is because we wanted to talk to other people who wanted to talk about our favorite shows, and we wanted to share theories, and we want to listen to podcasts and write in and hear our crazy theories, and it's fun. Now that they're doing this whole psyops, convert the masses to prevent your storyline, your precious storyline, from being leaked 2 episodes early, who gives a shit? Just be happy people are watching.
I think, silver lining on this cloud, though, is the fact that they're never going to waste the money to fuck up our podcast.
That's
and so
right.
We will become the authority. No one will go to Reddit anymore. They'll go, you know what? Shat on TV Westworld, these guys are the real deal.
DelosDestinations.com. I can't wait for my Westworld mobile minigame. I don't know. HBO, we will be corporate shills for you, though, for everything that I said. I can be easily influenced and swayed by unmarked envelopes with cash.
Well, it's kind of funny that you talk about being swayed by corporate overlord. This might be a great time to talk about our possible sponsorship opportunity. What do you think?
I love it.
Okay, so as we've talked about on most of our podcasts, we don't do this to make money because it's a creation of love that we like the show. The community's been great, the interactions. It makes the show enjoyable. It's a lot of fun to do. And we're lucky enough that people include us into their lives.
Just like Dr. Ford.
Yes, but there is a monetary component, and it does cost us a couple $100 a month. So in an effort to try to cover that cost and make it so we can just truly enjoy it and it's not costing us money on top of that, We have an opportunity here from Libsyn, who is our podcast host. They have a few different companies that might be a good match for us. And it would help cover our costs through the season. And they want to just find out demographic-wise who's listening to Shat on TV. So in the notes, we're going to include a link to a webpage, survey.libsyn.com/Shat on TV. It would mean a lot to us if you could just go to the survey, and it asks you a couple questions like, age, marital status, education, like 7 questions. It's simple. By filling that out, no one's going to know who you are, but it would help advertisers who are interested in possibly reaching our audience, which was pretty substantial last year, that opportunity to make a good match. So if you can take 2 minutes, click the link, fill it out, it could help us. That's all we ask. We put in 3 shows a week. We probably dedicate a good 20 hours a week to the podcast. And if you get any enjoyment out of it, please help us. Click the link, fill it out, share it with a friend.
Yeah.
And maybe we can find a good sponsor.
You know, it would be a better way to get people's information is if we launched the Shat on TV mobile minigame where people had to answer the same questions. and then they could create their own Roger, Gene, Carrie.
Like little digital clothes and accessories.
Little microtransactions.
I just love that unwittingly people are going to determine what kind of products that we still be like. So we're going to be doing luxury watches, or it could be cigarettes. Like, who knows?
It's going to be all the bad stuff, right?
No, it's going to be fucking mattresses and meals in a box. That's all it is.
Tommy John.
No, wine subscriptions. I want wine subscriptions.
Survey.libsyn.com/ Can we get a vanity URL for this? How Shat on survey? No? All right.
I was going to do that, but I was afraid that Libsyn might take it as that we're trying to mask it or try to boost the numbers. So we'll provide the link in the notes. Take 2 minutes. Help us out. And you'll be hearing ads throughout the season. So you right now can determine whether it's some kind of adult undergarment or maybe an alcoholic beverage.
Or both.
I'm really looking forward to doing live ads. Will they pay us more to do live ads? Because I'll do live ads all day long.
It's up to us to so we could. I'm hoping they provide us the product and we could give a testimonial of what we really think.
Yeah, I mean, they said that we could, that basically some of them, they give us samples and we could read it at the beginning. And then they're like, are you willing to read it at the middle too? And I'm like, that's actually a way to break up a Roger Roper rant. It's like, as you're going, we just cut to the ad.
Yeah, if we could have more ads, please. It's easier for our transitions of thought. Oh, suddenly it's a 2-hour show. All right. Well, now's the time of the podcast where we're going to read an email. Typically, this would be on a separate episode every Thursday. What we call the Westworld Telegraph. Where does our lone telegraph come from this week, Gene?
Well, I think it came from the east.
Oh, that's right, because it has Eastern time zone in the
for the time zone. No, I'm not saying based on the name.
Oh, got it. All right.
But no, it's so I actually have a cousin named Melika, but it's Malika, I believe. Yeah.
Malika writes in, "Hey, a dear Shat podcast host. Hello. I don't have any crazy theories to mention to you all or anything specifically discussed on an upcoming episode. I just wanted to say that I have missed the Westworld podcast so incredibly much, and I'm beyond ecstatic for its return. I'm a professional binge watcher of television. I normally hate when I like a television show with weekly releases because I would just rather knock out a season in a glorious red-eye, wine-filled 14-hour binge session. However, your podcast makes me actually enjoy the weekly release schedule of Westworld. I am genuinely more excited for your podcast returning than I am for the second season of Westworld. All 3 of you have such unique personalities that mesh perfectly in each episode. You all put so much work into this podcast, and it shows. 3 episodes a week is amazing to me. Thank you for all that you do. I can't wait to dive back into the intricate storylines and mind-blowing theories. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your day. Sincerely, Malika." Hey, can we just send this to the survey people at Libsyn?
Yeah, exactly.
This is great. You sure we didn't write this ourselves?
No, we don't write that well. I mean, this is clearly legit. I just want to point out also that is, I don't plan on getting married, but if I do, I'd really like it to be described, the honeymoon, as a glorious red-eye and wine-filled 14-hour binge session. But no, I agree. Malika, I agree that I had gotten into the habit of really getting into shows that I could watch, binge on Netflix and stuff. And this was really the first show that I've watched weekly since I think since Deadwood, probably. And so it was a very hard habit to pick up, but it's so much more enjoyable. And I now am a fan of weekly release TV. I don't really like the binge as much.
Yeah, you lose the community element. It's nice to be able to talk about it, whereas binging, I could rip through 4 episodes, you're on episode 2. There's no connective tissue that brings kind of everybody together.
Yeah.
And there's no way to share the enjoyment. This, we're forced to delay our pleasure.
We're forced to interact with other individuals.
Yes.
I guess what I really like about these weekly shows, the ones that we watch now for the podcast, is they're limited. With Game of Thrones, it was like, 7 episodes? With Westworld, it's 10. Even some of the binge episodes are only 8 episodes long or 10 episodes long. So I feel like I'm not wasting my time watching these, shows or series. But it is nice to get back into the swing of thing. And I can just say personally, I wasn't part of the first preview episode. You guys did that while I was traveling, and I'm so sad I missed it because it reminds me how much fun I have with you guys, my best friends, just talking shit about Westworld. And I'm saying this because I know it's going to get tough. I know there's going to be a time mid-season where we're in the grind and we're like on episode 24 and we're going to hate each other. But right now, I love you guys, and I'm so excited to do Westworld season 2.
And that was Malika. Malika
that was she put a postscript at the end, and that's what we read. But again, hit your subscribe button, share with a friend, follow us everywhere on social media. We're on Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, and you can follow all of us, all of our news, read all of the telegraphs we get throughout the season from fans on our website, shatontv.com. Go there. Big D built it himself. It looks really, really good. That website address is survey.libsyn, libsyn.com/shatontv.
Yep, and we'll include it in the notes, so you can just click it.
That's right. That will really help us out. We really want to sling Tommy John underwear and mattresses for you, our listeners of Westworld.
Adult diapers.
Right. Thank you so much for listening. Shout out to all the Westworld podcasts that we're friends with. Looking forward to hanging with you this season. Take care. Good night. And what did I used to say?
I don't know. Good luck.
No. I used to say something.
You used to say, don't
Saddle
hang your
up.
hat at the Mariposa.
Yeah.
You used to say, these violent delights have violent ends. You used to say,
I bet we could listen to old episodes. Anyway, on behalf...
It was make sure to leave a seat between you and your friend.
No.
On behalf of my co-host, Big D, and Gene Lyons, I'm Roger Roper. Be sure to join us for our final. We're going to do one more of these before the season starts. So thank you so much. Take care. Good night. And good luck.
And fill out your survey.